Out of all the years I've been alive, I've been fishing once. It was a pretty interesting experience. In fact, my older brother who was with me said that fishing excursion scarred him. Also, since saying my brother every time I mention my brother is annoying, I asked him what he wanted me to call him instead, and he said that I should call him Exhibit A. I don't know why he chose that, but there's no turning back now. Exhibit A and I were camping at a lake for the weekend with some of our friends. Friday night we didn't do much and we just went to sleep. We woke up early Saturday morning to make breakfast and then go fishing. We walked around the lake looking for a good place to fish. Once we found a spot, we put everything down and started fishing. After around 20 minutes, Exhibit A caught a fish, and we were all really excited. Now you might be excited too, except I lied. What actually happened was far worse. Because we were mostly broke, some of us borrowed fishing rods from another friend who wasn't with us. For some ominous reason, no one knows why, our friend used zip ties to keep the top part of the rod connected to the bottom part. To use the rod, we would have to cut the zip ties and attach the top to the bottom. We had 2 rods like this, and since Exhibit A had the coolest knife, he started to cut the zip ties. While cutting the first zip tie, Exhibit A's finger got in the way of the knife, and he cut himself. It was dripping all over the sand, and it covered his finger. One of the guys in the group had a water jug, and he immediately poured some water over the cut to rinse it. I helped Exhibit A get a band-aid, and he put it on, but it wasn't enough. The band-aid was soaked through, so instead I took out a handkerchief and tied it around the wound. Good thing the handkerchief was red, or it would have gotten dirty. Oh, and by the way, while all this was happening, my other friends were either fishing casually or marveling at the skeleton of a dead bird. Wow, it still has some feathers stuck to it. Yeah, and why are there deer hoof prints leaning right up? Once we had the handkerchief on, Exhibit A risked his life and finished cutting the other 3 zip ties for the other rods. Luckily, the rods were unused and were not yet strung. Also, luckily, none of us knew how to string a fishing rod. Cool. Exhibit A just cut open his finger for no reason. Because we couldn't string the rods, Exhibit A and I shared one rod. I guess we just got lucky that Exhibit A's rod was red, or it, like the handkerchief, would have been ruined. He handed me the rod so I could try casting, and I almost killed him by accident. I gave the rod back to Exhibit A and noticed that my hands were now red. Anyway, later that day, around 4 o'clock, when the fog was rolling in, Exhibit A and I decided to try fishing again. By that time, we had figured out how to set up and use the cursed zip tie rod. The cursed rod cast differently than the red rod, so I traded the cursed rod for the red rod. You still with me? Exhibit A now has the cursed rod, and I have the red rod. The area we were at was just a bunch of small boulder rock thingies. Bruh. We were fishing in fairly shallow waters. As I had a lot of time to practice since the zip tie incident, I'd become pretty good at casting if I do say so myself. I cast and sat down on a rock to wait for a fish to bite. As I was looking on, Exhibit A cast, and I noticed 2 things fall into the water. What was the second thing? Oh shoot, that was the reel. You see, when Exhibit A cast, the hook flew away, as it should, but the reel, the thing without the string on it, literally detached from the rod and fell into the lake. Like I mentioned earlier, we were borrowing the cursed rod from a friend, and we had just lost the reel in the lake. When borrowing something from a friend, it is best not to throw that thing into a lake, unless that thing is a floaty, or a boat. Although I find it hard to believe that anyone watching this could throw a boat. Anyway, we consulted another friend of ours who was camping, and he said that it was not Exhibit A's fault, and that the rod was cheap. Nevertheless, Exhibit A tried to get it out. He used a string, still connected to the rod, to roughly locate the reel. He decided that the only way to get it out was to step into the lake and take it out by hand. To give you some perspective, it was probably 30 or 40 degrees Fahrenheit. There was thick, heavy fog all around us, and if you didn't know, getting wet makes becoming colder easier. Exhibit A removed his shoes and then his socks so as not to get them wet. He dipped his leg in the water and his immediate reaction showed how cold it was. Then, Exhibit A had an idea. He grabbed his stick and used it to test how deep the water was before fully stepping in to retrieve the reel. The stick went in super deep. I'm not going in there. Just pull on the string until the reel comes out. Well, I hope this works. Ooh. Wow, you literally could have just done that the entire Anyway, after we got the reel out, we headed back to camp with no fish, a broken fishing rod, and a very red rod to go with it. Overall, it was a pretty cool experience, and I was kind of happy that I didn't catch any fish, because if I did, I would have had to rip it open and cook it with my bare hands. I don't like touching the inside of raw fish. Watch this video here, and subscribe if you liked listening to the story about my experience with fishing. As you can see, this video took me a long time to make. This is me editing it, and it was a lot of work, but it was also a lot of fun. But I am very happy with the results, and I hope you are too. So if you enjoyed the video, please subscribe and like. I'm saying this too much. I said I wouldn't. Bye.